Hello guys, welcome to another trade breakdown video. Today I'll be breaking down the trade that I took on Thursday, 29th of August 2024, and clearly we can see my bias going on to the Thursday was bearish because of how this Wednesday candle closed right here. Yes, according to how this Wednesday candle closed, yes, you can argue the market was literally going to the upside. It was very bullish, but obviously I trade the daily bias, so it made sense for me to go and fill up this fair value gap. So I literally was anticipating to trade the fair value gap, to fill up this fair value gap. That was my daily bias. And DXY, if I go to DXY to show you the bias, as you can see right there, you can see DXY bias was bearish on the weekly, GU was bullish. So according to how this Wednesday candle closed, again filled up the fair value gap and didn't respect this fair value gap at all. As you can see, the price did fill up the fair value gap, and after filling up this fair value gap, literally it didn't give any signs of reversal. So on Thursday I was looking for buys, and also it was reaching in a supply zone right now, which I didn't mark. Obviously I have marked this supply because I anticipated this supply will not get respected, and if I draw this supply zone it will be very close to the demand, but maybe I should have. And let's see, that's not important, that's important, but the most important thing is the daily candle. The daily candle closed as a very bullish candle. That is why I'm looking for sells on GBP USD. So that is when I go to the lower time frame to look for any sort of market structure. So here we can see there is a market structure shift, change of character, break of structure on the 4 hourly, which is exactly what we want to see. That was exactly what I wanted to see. Beautiful market structure shift. And also there was an H4 fair value gap which we can fill. So this fair value gap we could have targeted because my bias was bearish. So whenever my bias is bearish and there is a fair value gap to the downside, we can target that fair value gap to fill that fair value gap up, right? So even on DXY there was a fair value gap, as you can see right here on the H4 time frame. The previous week low was already taken. The price was now filling up a kind of fair value gap here and also getting closer to a supply zone. So it made sense for us to buy until unless we reach the supply zone. So that is when I go to the lower time frames like the H1. So on the H1 time frame we can clearly see the market is now making, this was the last high that caused this higher high. So once the market body closed below this is the lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So that is when I look for supply zones to trade from, and I waited for the Asian range to close as always, because until and unless the Asian range close I don't do nothing. So that is when I mark the supply zones. Obviously I'm looking for sales, so I will look for supply zones. As we can see on Wednesday, it was a beautiful trade also on Wednesday. This will be covered in the weekly breakdown video, so stay tuned for that. Here we can see it was a London continuation, meaning the New York came up, mitigated the London supply zone and then gave the move. The same sort of thing happened on the live markets yesterday, which we capitalized on. What a coincidence, right? So it was a beautiful trade on GBP USD here, right? But we didn't took the trade because my bias was bullish and we did call a 1:3 to reward buys, so it was a win-win situation. So London continuation model, New York also works. As you can see, the M30 supply zone did got mitigated, and after it got mitigated I took the entry right around here when it was my timing, which is 7 AM to 10 AM UK time. The market literally was at the correct spot at the correct time, and I wanted to ride the London liquidity. The whole point of trading MAC model is to ride the London liquidity. London session opened, literally went up, stopped us out. I entered the market here right after the OTE level entry on the M5. The market went up, stopped us out in the New York session, on London session opening, and then made the move to the downside, meaning the move did happen to the downside but after stopping us out. So obviously journal this trade, learn a lot of things from this trade, and in the live market if something like this happen I will re-enter the trade if my bias is clear. The trade was still valid, the supply zone was still valid, everything was valid, right? Just the first entry that we took was a loss, so losses are part of the game. As we can see, it was a beautiful trade. It would pass me in the first phase or any phase of challenge account. And yeah mate, if you follow your plan and if you only take trades like this that aligns with your bias and aligns with your strategy, you are already profitable, bro. It's just a matter of time. Make it to bring it into fruition. As you can see, I have also journaled this trade. If you want to see, you can watch around here. And yeah, this was a losing trade but also could have been a winning trade. So yeah, you can argue with it by yourself. Because I have learned from this trade, that is why there is no losing trade, mate. You either learn from a trade or earn from a trade. So in this trade I have learned, so it is a win-win situation. So on to the next one.